for coming to meet with me today. So we're actually going to talk about diabetes today. Have you heard of diabetes before?
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of? Can you tell me a little bit what you know about diabetes or what you think it is?
It's pretty... I just read it in a book before, but it just told about this girl that had diabetes, but she was it wasn't the right food for her.
Okay.
Or something.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds. Was that at school that you learned about that, or was it just a book you read somewhere else?
Just a book.
It was just a book you read. Yeah. Okay. So you're kind of on the right track there.
Can you just start off by telling me a bit about what you already know about diabetes?
Sure. So, as far as I know, there's two types. Type 1, you are born with it, and then type 2, you can develop later in life if you have a very sugary diet or whatever. And it's, as far as I know, based off blood sugar levels and insulin. You have to always be kind of checking your blood sugar levels and keeping an eye on it and have a pump on you and that kind of stuff. That's about my base knowledge level.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like you kind of already know quite a bit. You know, you've heard about insulin, blood sugars, that there's two types. So that's a really good start.
So I basically just wanted to ask you what you already know about diabetes.
Okay. Not a whole lot, to be honest.
Okay.
In terms of diabetes, I think there's obviously the basic knowledge that there's multiple types of diabetes.
Yeah.
Juvenile diabetes usually diagnosed around 4.
Okay.
And then type 2 diabetes as a result of lifestyle. Do you just want me to keep everything that I know?
No, that's a good start.
Yeah.
So I'd like to teach you a bit today. Sure. Feel free to interrupt me if you already know this,
okay.
Or if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt at any time.
On the right track there. So diabetes does have to do with food, and it's actually a disease that some people have, and it affects how they are able to get energy from food when they eat it. So can you think of some reasons why we need to eat food?
It helps us grow.
It helps us grow, that's right. What about when you want to run and play outside? Do you think food helps you have the energy to run and play? Or what about at school when you need to learn?
It helps you focus.
It helps you focus, that's right. So the reason why we eat food is because it gives us the energy so we can do things like we can play outside, we can run, we can think at school, we can learn better. So that's why it's really important. Do you know why food gives us energy? No? Okay, that's okay. So in the foods we eat, so what's one of your favorite snacks to have? Broccoli. So what broccoli has is there's sugars in broccoli, and what happens when we eat the broccoli is that our body takes the sugars and it changes it into energy so that we can run and we can think and we can play. But so for people who have diabetes, they have a disease that prevents them from their bodies being able to convert that energy or that sugar into energy. So can you think of some things of that when you haven't eaten? Let's say you go to school and you forget to have breakfast, or you go outside to play but you haven't eaten all day. What does that feel like? Yeah, you can feel really tired because you don't have that energy, right? So that's something, because somebody with diabetes can't convert the sugars to energy, a lot of times, even after they eat food, they still feel tired. So that's basically what happens when you have diabetes. Does that make sense?
I'm just going to kind of explain a bit more about the mechanism of
Please do.
diabetes
Yeah.
and how it works in your body. So have you ever heard of the lock and key mechanism?
I don't think so. No.
No? Okay. So insulin, like you already mentioned, is a hormone that your body produces. Your pancreas is the organ that makes the insulin. And so insulin acts like a key, and so it's like a key that opens up like the door to your cells to allow sugar to enter them. So when you eat carbohydrates, and it's not necessarily if you're eating like a high sugar diet, just any kind of carbohydrates, your body converts or breaks down those carbs into a really simple sugar called glucose. And so that's what your blood sugar is when you measure it. It's just measuring how much glucose is in your bloodstream. So when you eat the food, the glucose is carbohydrates are broken down, and it circulates in your blood. And for your body to actually use that sugar as fuel, it has to get into the cells.
Right.
So the insulin, when you eat, insulin is released into your bloodstream, and then that's what allows the sugar to enter the cells to be used for energy. So it's like a lock and key. So with the two different types, with type 1, like you mentioned, it's something more so like you're born with it, not really dependent on your diet. So that's when your pancreas actually stops producing the insulin. So there's just no key available to open up the door to the cells. And then with type 2 diabetes, that's when you have insulin resistance. So that means that the pancreas is still producing the insulin, but it's a different key now. And so it doesn't fit into the door, and the glucose can't get into the cells.
Right.
So your body just can't use that sugar for energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it can't get into the cells, that would be, those sugars would just be kind of trapped in your blood, which would be why you would have like a high blood sugar level, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then as well, I guess, if it's not getting in there, then you're not getting that energy. So that's why someone, if they have a high blood sugar level, would be very low energy. Is that the...
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So do you have any other questions? Does that make a bit more sense to you?
None that I can think of. Seems pretty straightforward the way that you explained it. I think I definitely learned a bit.
The specifics, I'm not sure maybe how type 1 differs from type 2 in terms of the patient's needs.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have an understanding of how that's different in their bodies as well, or is that something else that you'd like some?
I wouldn't mind some clarification. Yeah,
Sure,
just
yeah.
to confirm.
So type 1, like you said, juvenile is usually when it's diagnosed. So basically, the pancreas is just not producing the insulin. So it's classified as an autoimmune disease.
Okay.
And so it's not producing the insulin at all.
Right.
So that way the glucose is in your blood, but then it just can't get into the cells because it doesn't have that insulin in your body. So that's why insulin therapy is how that's corrected. So they basically inject it because your pancreas isn't making it.
Right.
So in type 2, like you said, diagnosed a lot later usually. And it's not well understood why it happens, but basically the pancreas is producing insulin, but there's something wrong with the mechanism, and that the cells are insulin resistant.
Right.
So that there's insulin in your body, but it's just not letting the glucose access those cells.
Okay.
So sometimes they like to use like an analogy, like it's the key.
Right.
So the key it's there, but it's just not fitting in the lock to let the glucose in. Does that kind of clear things up a little bit?
Yeah, I think that kind of confirms like the same ideas that I had, but just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah.